guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side girl, and today we're going to be talking about my Unfinished series. So this is just going to be like an in-depth kind of nerdy video talking about one of my goals for this year and one of the goals for last year, which was to finish a bunch of my Unfinished series. So last year, I think I started at 47 or 49 unfinished series, and my goal was to cut that in half, which would have been getting it down to like 23, 24. And I got really close. I got down to 29. What I did was I included any series that I haven't finished during the time that I've been like on BookTube, which I believe I started in 2017, so like the past 5-6 years, and also that I actually wanted to finish. So anything that I read the first book or second and I didn't really care for it, I didn't include those. I'm not gonna like finish something I don't enjoy, but anything that I actually had like the desire to finish, I put on that list. Nothing that I started from childhood or anything like that. So I started at 47 and I got down to 29. But at the end of the year, I added any new series or duologies that I wanted to continue on with to the list. So I think I actually got down to like maybe 19, but then I added like 10 that I didn't finish during the year. I hope that makes sense. So that's kind of the plan. So anything at the end of the year that I haven't finished yet is going to go on this list. My goal for 2023 is to get this number down to 5 at least. So that means finishing anything that's already on there and not starting too many new ones without completing them. It's going to be a little bit tougher because some of the ones that I have left, I have like 6 books left in the series. I have a lot of new series that I want to start, but I think I can do it. I think that there is a total of 78 books that I need to finish to complete this list. However, like some of these books, I've only read the first book in like the trilogy or the series. And if I read the next book and I don't like it, then I'm not going to read it and it comes off of the list, if that makes sense. I'm free to DNF a series or a book at any time, but if I actually want to finish the series, I want to get that done. So I'm trying for the next like 2 months especially to not start hardly any new ones, maybe 1 or 2 max, so that I can start some during Galaxy-a-thon, which is my first readathon coming up in March, because there's a bunch of new ones that I want to start. I actually did really good. I only have, I think, 1, maybe 2 spacey series that I haven't finished, so I tend to do good wrapping these up, but I have 29 left to finish. So I want to share with you guys everything that I have left to finish on this list and kind of let you know my game plan. So I just make a notes app on my phone. I use Google Notes. And I just list them all and I put at the top the largest series and then go down all the way to the smallest ones for based on the amount that I have left. First up, we have Cirque du Freak, which is a really fun middle grade vampire series. There are 12 books in total. I have 9 books left. I should have already finished this by now because the audiobooks are only 4.5 to 5 hours and they're very easy to get through. I keep trying to save it for the fall because it's so good for the fall, but then I never finish it. So I'm gonna try to get to a couple of these like every month. I really am loving it and the narrator for this is amazing. Then we have the Red Rising series, and I technically only have 2.5 left. The 6th book isn't out yet and the 7th book isn't out yet, but I want to reread them before I jump back in because the first 3 are like a complete trilogy and then the next set takes place like 10 years in the future. But it's been a while since I've read these. It's one of my all-time favorite series, so I do want to reread them before I jump back in, so I'm counting this as like 6 books. Then we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I have like all of these books. There's like 6 or 7 now, and I've only read the first one. I don't think I need to reread the first one because I watched the movie and I've reread it like twice, but I do want to continue on with this series, so I think I have 6 books left. We have The Monstrumologist by Rick Yancey. I started this one in 2021. Absolutely loved the first book. It was spooky and delightful and had like a Frankenstein, Victorian Gothic steampunk vibe, and there are 4 books in total, and I do think I want to reread that first book because I enjoyed it so much. We have Splintered by A.G. Howard. Read Splintered in like 2019, so again want to reread this. So there's 4 books to finish. This is Alice in Wonderland retelling. Another Alice in Wonderland retelling is Alice in Zombieland, which I started last fall, so I don't need to reread that first one. There's 3 books left by Jenna Showalter. I do have to physically read them unless I use like an Audible credit because I can't find the audios from my library. And if I don't like totally love the second one, I might not finish it overall. I really enjoyed the first one, but we'll just see how they go. Some of these might be slightly out of order, just FYI. So then we have A Court of Thorns and Roses. I still haven't started A Court of Wings and Ruin. And then I have the novella that goes with it and then the new one in the series, but it's following a different character, which I'm really nervous about. I really want to at least finish the original first 3 and the novella. I'm not too worried about the newer one because it's going to be part of a new trilogy or a new series, and those aren't out yet. I'm not as much in a rush to get to it. A Court of Wings and Ruin is really long. Then we have Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I read the first book like 2 years ago and I loved it, and I never continued on, and I don't know why. So I need to reread this one. So 3 books left. Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. I love Warm Bodies, the first book. I didn't realize it was a series. I love the movie. I don't need to reread it. I'm very familiar with the story, but there is like a prequel and then like 2 other books. This is one that I may wind up DNFing. He is a little bit of a slower author, and I might be good with just the first book. It's on here for now, so I've got 3 books left. Winter House by Ben Gutterson. This is one I'm probably gonna read pretty soon. I am going to reread the first book. It's a middle grade, like kind of mystery winter type read, and I really enjoyed the first one. So I have 3 left in that one. We have The Maiden Ship by Michelle Reichman. This is an indie book, and I have the first book, The Maiden Ship, so I have to purchase the other ones because there's no audio, and I don't think the ebooks are like on my library or anything. So this is one that's going to take me a little longer to finish. I started rereading this book last year, so I just need to finish my reread of that and then get the next one. So I have like 2.5 left. We have Aurora Rising. I've read Aurora Rising like 3 times now. This is one that I'm not entirely sure if I'm like loving. It's one of the only space books that I haven't finished, and I have 2 books left. I've already read Aurora Burning, but I don't remember any of it. So I'm gonna start over. We have The Vicious Deep by Zoraida Cordova. I started this for Mermaid Marathon last year. Really fun, silly, super young adult mermaid series. That one I have to physically read as well. No audio, so 2 books left. Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. I did this one for Hikeathon last year. I will probably do one around Hikeathon. Probably try and finish this around Hikeathon as well because I was enjoying it. It's got like an old Western gold rush, but with a tiny bit of magic. It is a little bit slower, but I found it interesting because I hadn't read anything like this. 2 left in that one. The Water Mirror by Kai Meyer. I have a little bit of a dilemma with this one. I reread The Water Mirror. This is like a middle grade or like young adult series. It's very unique. It's set in Venice. There's like these magical stone lions that the policemen fly. There's mermaids pulling the canal boats. There's all this magic, and like there's like a lady living in the water, and it talks about like the devil, and it's kind of darker, and it was so good. These are translated from German, and I believe they got less popular as they went on. So I can find the second audiobook on Audible. There is not a third audiobook, and then they haven't even translated the 4th book. So I do want to read the Stonelight because I have it on my physical shelf, either physically or on audio. I don't know if I'm going to read the 3rd one because there isn't even a translated version of the 4th one, and I might not need to. So I have 2, maybe 1 left. Something Strange and Deadly by Susan Dennard. I started this one in the fall. Absolutely loved it. Gothic Victorian with zombies. So good. So excited to get to this one, and I have 2 left in that series. We have A Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. I think there are only 2 left that I have to read, but there might be a 4th one now. I'm not entirely sure, but this is just a really cute like holiday fantasy middle grade series, and there's a movie out for it too. So I might reread the first book, but they're really short, but I'm going to get to these more towards the holiday season. Then we have A Christmas Asaurus. I started this for the holidays last year. This is a middle grade Christmassy series that I really enjoyed about a young boy who gets a dinosaur for Christmas and goes on this grand adventure with like Santa. And I'm not really sure what the 2nd and 3rd book are going to be about, but there's 2 left to go in this one. Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I have 2 books left in that series, and I started it last year, so I don't need to reread the first one. Murder mystery. Super easy, young adult. Oh, I have Dark Shores by Danielle L. Jensen here. For some reason thought this was a trilogy, and I only had 1 left. But she just announced that there's going to be a 4th book, and I think there's going to be like 6. So I need to put it somewhere else on the list. This is just like a in-depth fantasy series, and it's got like pirates in the first book, and there's just like a whole magic system. It's a whole thing. But I need to move this on the list once I find out how many books there are going to be. We have the Nil trilogy, which I'm currently physically reading the 2nd book. These don't have audios either. It's got like a survival aspect, a magic aspect. These kids get kind of whisked away to this island. Nobody knows where they are. They have a year to survive or figure out how to get off the island. Really, really good. So I have 1.5 left of those. Then for books, I only have 1 left in the series. So Lake's Edge, I've got Forestfall left. This is duology. Other Side of the Sky, another duology. I might wind up DNFing the 2nd one. The first one was super weird and very detailed and long. So I'm gonna try the second one. The narrators are all really good and I like these authors, but we're gonna see how it goes. Okay, so then we have Grim Lovelies. I have one book left. I really did enjoy the first book. It's very strange, but I wanna find out the conclusion. Bright Smoke Cold Fire by Rosamund Hodge. I love Rosamund's other books that I have read. Bright Smoke Cold Fire was kind of weird and slow. This is one that I might DNF. But I do want to give it a shot because the ending was kind of cool. And we have Paranormalcy by Kirsten White. I only have one book left. Just a really fun paranormal trilogy. It's set like with this whole magic system where they kind of keep all the paranormals in check, the vampires, the fairies, the witches, all that kind of stuff. And our main character works for them and she kind of uncovers some things that are not good in the society. So one book left. Rise of the Vicious Princess by CJ Redwine. I did not love this first book. It was very strange. I talked about it during Mermaid Marathon. It's not mermaidy as far as I know, but the ending was good enough that I want to check it out, and I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or not. But as of right now, I think it's a duology. So I have one left, but it's not out yet. Shades of Rest and Ruin by A.G. Howard. I think is going to be a trilogy, but again, I don't know. She hasn't even announced the second book release date yet. I technically am caught up on this. And then we have Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I don't remember a ton from the first Crescent City book, so I feel like I need to reread it or reread a heavy synopsis. The third book isn't even out yet, and I feel like it's going to be like 6 books, so I'm not like in a rush to read this one because I want to like keep things fresh in my brain. So that makes for a total of 29 series that I need to finish, and I want to get this number down to 5. At least. I want to keep a very short amount of rollover. Anything that hasn't come out yet, I don't know if I'm going to put it on this list next year, if that makes sense, until the next ones have come out, because I won't be technically like behind or unfinished because I'm caught up. And then anything that I don't like, I'm going to DNF, I'm going to stop, but I really want to get some of these done and like off the radar so I can start a bunch of new series for the like later half of the year. So I think I'm going to try to finish at least like 3 series before I start a new one, to kind of keep the momentum going. Let me know how that sounds to you guys. That's kind of my plans for right now. I did really good last year. Some of the series I wound up totally loving. Some of them I was kind of like, nah, there was probably a reason I didn't finish them, but at least I got it done and I wound up unhauling and keeping and DNFing, and you know, it's just kind of good. I'm kind of a completionist, like I kind of love lists and checking things off. So I have not included in this list anything that's like a continuation of a series or like a set in the same world. Like the Cassandra Clare Shadowhunters world is just like an ongoing, never-ending series. Because the last book I read of hers was a completed trilogy, I didn't add the rest of them on this unfinished list, but I'm still going to read the rest of her books, if that makes sense. So once I start a new set of her trilogies, then it'll go on the list. So hope all this makes sense to you guys. I hope you like the nerdy stats. Let me know some unfinished series that you have down below in the comments. Let me know if some of these are your favorite or if you'll be adding them to your list. I'll be talking about them as I read them throughout the year. Very excited to finish some of these off, and thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at @thebrightsidegirl. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos at least twice a week, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.